Okay, here is the video that you guys asked for in large group. So this is relative dating practice number 2 is how it's listed in your notes. We have 4 sets of laws: superposition, lateral continuity, cross-cutting, and original horizontality that we will be using for our, it's almost like a geometry proof. Those of you that said, hey, this reminds me of geometry proofs, you are correct in that it's a lot like that. So we just have to know what's going on and why. So we always start at the bottom and work our way up. So the first event I'm thinking is going to be at the bottom is B, because wow, it's right there, it's really prominent. Okay, so it's at the bottom. But then I'm going to look around all the edges to see if I think I'm still right. And I get kind of here to this area, and I notice there's some pink pebbles and some green pebbles inside I. Which means that that probably wasn't first, because we have this erosion stuff kind of hanging out inside I. And so what that tells me is, and the same thing happens here, so that tells me that B's probably not the bottom, but rather this formed like this. And so what I see instead is this was probably the bottom, then B kind of cuts in, just because I can see these erosional pieces in this line. So I'm going to start with layer D, and it's at the bottom, so that's the law of superposition. Then I'm going to go to layer C, because that's the next one up, also based on superposition. And now I've got to deal with E and G. I know C had to come after D, because E kind of goes up in there. But I don't really know whether E comes first or G comes first, because we don't ever really see them touch. It probably happened off that diagram somewhere. So you could put E first and then G, but those are really interchangeable, and it would depend on your logic. The 2 laws we're looking for there, though, are going to be cross-cutting and lateral continuity. I know that C is the same here as it is on this side. That used to be one layer, and G cut through it. I know that D is the same on each side, and that E cut through it. And so I know that it's lateral continuity and cross-cutting for both of those. After that's probably when B happened. And so B would also be cross-cutting. Because I don't have more C or D down here at the bottom, I'm going to just write cross-cutting because I know it went in there. But next, then, I have these pebbly pieces. So that is erosion. And so that erosion piece, I'm going to mark that by this little star so you know that's what we're talking about here. So that little erosion all along this face right here, that is original horizontality, or you could also call that cross-cutting. Either one would work. I prefer original horizontality. You have to have a layer before you can do something to it. Then the layer I gets laid down over top of that erosional surface, so that's superposition. And then after I comes J, again based on superposition. And after J comes M, based on superposition. After all of those, I have to deal with that layer of N and L. And so if I look at those two, I know by lateral continuity that N had to be one continuous piece. So I know N comes next based on cross-cutting. But because of that lateral continuity piece, I know it comes before the layer of L, which then cross-cuts layer N. Next, what we get then is the tilt of all those layers to make those kind of stand up, because I see these erosional pieces on the top. So the tilt has to come next. And at this point, you might be realizing, I don't have enough lines. Yeah, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that. I kind of fixed that here. We ran out of real estate on the notes. Sorry about that. Tilts are always original horizontality. Okay. After the tilt, we get erosion of these little tiny pieces. It gets broken off and kind of starts to settle in the dips. And so that would be, I'm going to use a different kind of star for that erosional piece. Just like before, that is going to be original horizontality, or you could say cross-cutting. After that erosion, again, I get these nice, lovely stacked layers. So I have F, H, K, A, and the QAL layer. And those are all based on superposition. And I know that those were laid down flat. So there you can kind of see how they were laid down and then they got tilted later. So then the final event was the tilt, was that last top tilt, and that's original horizontality. You could also, though, argue that this QAL layer came after the tilt, and it could be filling in by lateral continuity. So if it was flat like this through the layer of A, I'm just going to put my pencil there, and then it tilted, and then what happens is QAL starts to fill in without having a defined top or more stuff to see off that direction. There's no real way for me to know what happened there. So you could have QAL or you could have the tilt come first. If you put the tilt before, QAL would also have lateral continuity if you put it last. That is that sample. I would recommend for sample number 1 on the notes from Monday that you would look at the color diagram. I looked at the black and white and that looks pretty hard to tell. So I would pull up those notes before I tried that just to see the different colors. It would probably be helpful. All right, make sure you email us or come in with questions. Have a great day.